Great.
Real quick, what does everyone prefer to be called? My real name is Xavier, so you guys can call me that instead of Don't Save the Game.
Okay.
Yeah, I was wondering, shall we call you Don't or what?
Hey,
Hello, don't. Don't. How are you, man?
Hey, Don't have a good day.
Yeah.
Oh.
Thank you.
That's like
Actually,
the best
you
joke I
guys
could
can call
come
me
up with
by
with
my
that.
formal name, Mr. Save the Game.
Hello, Mr. Save the Game.
Hello, Mr. Save the Game.
Hi. Everyone say hi to God dang it. Everyone say hi to Mr. Save the Game.
Hi, Mr. Save
Hello,
the
Mr. Save the Game. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
That's like the chant that they had us do at school.
Exactly.
That's exactly it, just like in the movies too, like what you hear all the time. Actually, this is a perfect bit for you, George. I've been recording this for the last minute, so you sound wonderful, my friend.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, so yeah, that sounded good. I just did a little tinkering around, but everyone sounds pretty decent. It might be the headset too since I upgraded. So, but
Is it the headset? Okay.
Might be, but I think everyone sounds.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sounds
Okay.
pretty decent.
Excellent.
We're good to go.
Yay.
Me too.
Yeah, I know, right?
True.
What's on it?
Not only can I barely make you out with that, but you are also turning into my friend Brian.
Hello.
Yeah, you met Wheezy Cake, so you know he has his own soundboard too.
Yeah, I know, it's great.
What the actual hell? I don't think he has these at least.
It's fine.
When-
This is my normal voice.
When did you
I
get
think you
Today
just
we
doing
have Chipmunk Shroob, and we have Auto-Tune Shroob, and we have Paul Mike Quality Shroob. Take your pick.
Yeah, so, me talking like this,
See this cheap mic? Yeah, that's why it was so loud.
That's why you have a cheap mic. Okay. So
No, no.
Hey
Good
Shroob,
mic.
Shroob, you should sing a song in the Chipmunk voice.
I got you.
Oh my god.
Oh, wait, no, that's copyrighted.
it's my favorite song, Purgatory.
Yeah. Your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
You sound like a drunk chipmunk. I'm scared. It's
That's fine.
It's Alvin and the Chipmunks all grown up.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Alvin and the Adulthoods.
I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah, I can see it.
I'm in a cave. Yeah. Hello.
Oh,
Hi.
that's the one
Save
Brian
me.
uses a lot.
Save me. I'm gonna fall down the cave.
Sounds like that's a you problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is, but it's fine.
All right, Daft Punk.
I went in a cave on holiday.
Wow, that was
Wow.
cool.
That sounds pretty nice.
I actually took a short video of me going in there, so maybe I'll insert it in the video, who knows?
He
Who
probably
knows?
will.
Down into the mine. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. Something, da 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 da. Someone to lean on. Cave. Echo.
I'm turning this thing off. I don't want to hear it anymore.
Just like bring it up at random points throughout the video.
Well, instead of doing like Mario RPG footage. If you can't find footage for a game and don't want to, just put your cave video over it.
Yeah,
Just do that. It's like easy insert.
exactly.
It's like
I think
15
that should
seconds
become
long.
a reoccurring bit in across your entire channel. Just
Yes.
randomly, without context, throw that cave footage up.
Yes.
Yeah, just the 15 seconds loop of me going into a cave.
Yeah.
I like the sound of you laughing as you do
What was that laugh? It sounded like, something. I don't know. That scared me.
it.
It's like
It's like
that's like Seth Rogen if he was a cloud giant.
it's like singing operatically but laughing at the same time.
Seth Rogen if he did opera. And now he's just
Yes.
cutting out for me.
No, it's just, you want the cheat mic back?
Not really.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi.
All right then.
We've been going
I'm
at
back
this
to being
for
better.
about, that is 5 minutes almost. We are at the 4.5 mark,
Yay.
so,
4.5?
yeah.
Okay. Not bad, not bad.
Not bad, not bad. Breaking records.
Nah, this isn't a
Not
record
really,
breaker.
no. No, this isn't anywhere near as long as the New York Rats conversation.
That will always be my
Yeah.
favorite New York Rat one.
Yeah. What's a rat again?
We should just do Flatmates videos where we react to old Flatmates videos.
Oh no.
Well,
Oh no.
one of the ideas I did want to do is like, what is it? Since George, you have the community post now, you can easily get like we can do like a Q&A from like people's questions. Like if anyone wants to
boy.
ask things. Like
I suppose that could be fun.
yeah, you do like a Flatmates Q&A, and we talk enough as it is, so I feel like answering questions could get us some easy runtime.
Shall we get started?
Sure.
I've been ready to roll. Let's do this.
Let's get ready to rumble. Let's get ready to rumble. Get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. Everybody rumble. Okay. Salutations,
Rumble.
gaming enthusiasts. Salutations, gaming enthusiasts. George Maynard here, and today we are joined by our special guest, Don't Save the Game, who he tells me his real name is Xavier, so we're going to be calling him that instead of Don't, or something strange like that. So, say hello.
Hello. How are you gentlemen doing?
Doing alright.
I'm
This-
doing it. I'm doing
This is the
great.
audience's cue to tell their phone or whatever they're watching how they're doing today.
Yeah, please shout at your screen.
Yeah, not even shout, just full on yell it, like we're back in elementary school.
Yes.
I want everyone
Yep.
yelling at their phone, being like, I'm good! Or something like that, I don't know.
Everybody confuse their neighbors and parents and family and spouses and whatnot.
I'd say so. That's a good idea.
Pretty good idea.
Yeah, the widespread confusion in all the houses of all of my viewers. Excellent. So then, today we're covering a bit of an interesting topic that I'm really not quite sure what I'm going to say about, but Don't Save the Game has suggested that we talk about the role that story has in the Mario RPGs, as its role has become somewhat lesser in the more recent games, starting and peaking really with Sticker Star, and kind of, I would say, getting a little bit more story and a little bit better as they progress after Sticker Star. But still, the story is a lot more subdued and less original than it once was. So that's an interesting topic to talk about. Hopefully we'll all have very unique and interesting things to say about it.
You know I will.
I was gonna say, this is Shroop's topic right here.
It is.
Is this going to be like the third video in a row where Shroop says nothing for the majority of
No.
No.
It's the opposite.
Shroop has a lot to
I have
say.
a lot to say. Yeah.
I have a few interesting things to say as well, honestly, in regards to Mario RPGs and the role of story in them, but I am interested to hear everyone else's first.
Okay,
Who wants to go
so-
first? Someone call dibs.
Xavier, how about you go first? Because you're the one who suggested the topic.
Okay, I will, and I have some notes. So,
Hello?
I think there is a particular point of contention within the context of Mario RPG specifically, because Miyamoto and a lot of the people at Nintendo have a very specific idea of what role the story plays in their games. And within the context of a Mario platformer, a minimum story I think is right, and it works for those games. Where I disagree is that a minimal story works in an RPG in the way that Nintendo and Intelligent Systems has been doing it. I think if you're bothering to make an RPG at all, it's part of the genre. There needs to be some element of story. The flip side of that is I understand the concern because
funny joke.
I understand the concern because I've played games where the story overlaps the gameplay, and ultimately I'm not playing a game. If I really wanted the story, a good story, I'd watch a movie or watch a TV show or something, or read a book.
Well,
And
there's
I've played. I don't know if any of you guys played Eastward.
yes,
That
I love
came
this
out.
word.
Okay,
What's
so
that?
it's funny because I
Never heard of it.
I loved the gameplay, and I could not finish that game because the story, in my opinion, was so overbearing.
Yeah.
And not that it was bad, but the game was like 75% story and 25% gameplay.
See, I have
And-
I have that same thing because what is it? Sorry to interrupt, but that's another thing. Just put
No
a
worries.
more mainstream. For example, I don't know how many people in the audience have played Eastward, but I do know because it's a lot of our audiences together. A game that definitely is 75% story and cutscenes, and a very small part gameplay that I personally love. The 7th generation of Pokemon, Pokemon Sun, and Pokemon Sun and Ultra Moon, where they really hold your hand with the stories a lot, but the gameplay is phenomenal. The story's great too, but it literally force feeds you cutscenes, especially in the beginning, so I definitely can relate with that. I personally don't find Eastward's story too much. It's not my favorite story, but I definitely see where you're coming from though with that. But Pokemon Sun is definitely an example I can think of that too.
And it's not necessarily even a judgment on the quality of Eastward's story. It's
Right.
more of that it doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't. A game shouldn't be that way because the gameplay should come first. And I understand the dilemma within the context of Mario specifically too. But I think there is a balance between, a sticker star and a really story-heavy game. And I think there are really interesting ways you can integrate stories into an RPG that don't feel intrusive. I think of games like BioShock or even Metroid Prime, where those stories do not interrupt the gameplay at all, but they also are completely seamlessly integrated with the gameplay.
I don't think I've really played a game where the story was really overbearing on the gameplay, and I felt like it was being tedious. But then again, I don't have a huge amount of experience with RPGs outside of Mario, to be honest. Outside of Mario, I've played Pokemon Sword and Shield and Octopath Traveler, and just recently Bug Fables, which I've been really, really enjoying, and I just feel very excited for every new bit of cutscene. In a game where the story is enjoyable, I just get excited when the game stops me and says, okay, you're watching some cutscene and some dialogue now.
Which is fine.
But-
Which is fine, I guess, but I get where Xavier's coming from for sure. And on the flip side of it too, there's also a point where it feels like the story, because RPGs, I agree as well as a big RPG fan and a big D&D and fantasy person in general, if you're going to make an RPG, you need some element of a story. It's not like a Mario platformer, for example, where you can tell a story in 5 seconds, literally in the opening, and send people on the way through a whimsical world. You're literally interacting with everything in many ways on a 2D and 3D plane. And there's the overbearing stories like Eastward, which I can definitely see with, but there's also a leniency with stories where it feels like the gameplay's first and story is last in an RPG, like Golden Sun, in my opinion, where I felt like the story was so cookie cutter, I could care less. But that's the thing. Mario RPGs, in my opinion, for the most part, the stories lean one way or another. It feels like the story's front and first, like with Super Paper Mario, for example, on the Wii.
Yeah.
But the gameplay feels like, again, going through another point I made 2 episodes ago, gameplay feels like literally something out of any other Mario game that you could easily be like, show it to someone and they'd be like, oh, looks like some other Mario platformer.
Yeah.
And then there's also Sticker Star, where it's like, it has neither. You know, it has neither, in my opinion.
Which is true.
It is true. I feel like the games that balance the story, and again, no game is perfect with balancing, in my opinion. There are games that do it really well, but there are moments that slog in story or gameplay. The games that probably balance it the most for Mario RPGs, in my opinion, without being too cookie cutter and also too overbearing, would probably be Thousand Year Door and Origami King. I gotta replay 64 again just to make sure, but from what I remember, it did a pretty decent job as well. It really does feel like you get a balance of both without having to lean heavily in one direction or the other. It feels like Miyamoto and like Intelligent Studios and all these guys are like, hey, here's a story in a Mario RPG, here's a system, cool. And then don't even get me started on the Mario and Luigi games either.
I mean, to be fair, I think Paper Mario shines with the story much more than Mario and Luigi most of the time. Especially new generation of Paper Mario games, except for Sticker Star, but they're transitioning into that, and you can tell with Origami King. Because the gameplay is getting much more simple compared to Mario and Luigi games, where the gameplay gets much more elevated, where the story kind of just gets worse.
Yeah, I would argue maybe the peak stories for Mario and Luigi, where it felt like the best of both worlds, were Dream Team and Partners in Time, in my opinion.
Okay.
Like, more so Partners in Time, because that felt like, you know, a genuine story with, like, classic Mario RPG gameplay, and also, you know, not holding your hand with the story either, or being overbearing. Like, oh no, here's an alien invasion, go stop it, go through time, and there are these dark moments, but they never feel like, and this is what a lot of stories do, in my opinion, whether it's movie or games, they tread too much on one big point and stretch it out more than it needs to lose the effect of, like, wow, like a wow effect for this. So, like, for example, the toads being sapped from the trees. It's a dark moment, sure, and you would, in any other RPG, JRPG specifically, they'd probably drag it out and be like, oh, help me. But with these guys, it's like, oh, this is horrible. Let's go get into action and beat some butt. Like, it balances the wow factor of what a story should do in an RPG with the gameplay that Mario RPGs especially are known for spicing up the genre.
Partners in Time is an interesting case because, I mean, you do have stuff well with you who can talk, but like a lot of the cutscenes you will have Mario and Luigi shenanigans happening, and they see that stuff going on. And I feel like Partners in Time has a lot less dialogue and talking between people and characters than most of the other ones, because like Thousand Touch Story has plenty of places that are populated, and so does Superstar Saga, and Dream Team. There's plenty of tourists around in Dream Team and whatnot, but Partners in Time has more just like cutscenes with just Mario and Luigi. This might not even be relevant in the slightest, actually, coming to think of it.
Well, I mean, when it comes to the role of a Mario RPG in the story, you know, Xavier already nailed it, essentially. It's an RPG, there needs to be some element of a story, but the matter is how overbearing or how light do you get with your story, and in my opinion, a lot of the Mario RPGs are one or the other, like I mentioned. Like, even one of my favorite games, Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars, is just Final Fantasy in an RPG setting, and it makes sense especially because it's Square Enix that made it. You know, it's a very unhealthy balance between the two, and one or the other's always affected. And then they are getting better with the balance, in my opinion, especially with Origami King. But it definitely feels like there's one or the other, and I feel like they just don't know where they want to go with it at times in regards to that healthy balance. Like, do we want the movie that is Super Paper Mario RPG, or do we want the epic combat and just grand adventure that's with the Mario and Luigi series with a very light, fun story in it?
Yeah, and that's a good point, and it kind of goes back to kind of my own little conspiracy theory. I believe, just based on kind of the stuff that's been happening at Nintendo and Intelligent Systems, especially with Paper Mario and then Alpha Dream falling apart, I think a lot of the people making the executive decisions about these Mario RPG games aren't really fans of RPGs, and they don't really get why people like them, and so they're kind of coming at it from a slanted view where they can look online, they can talk to fans and be like, okay, people like this, but because they themselves don't connect with the material in that way, I believe that's why we've kind of gotten this mishmash of elements that don't ever feel like they've hit the right balance.
I
Yeah,
actually
when
really
they're
like
making
that.
when they were making new Paper Mario games, they were thinking to themselves, alright, what fun paper gimmick can we put in the game next? Rather than, okay, what story can we tell next?
Right.
Yeah,
Which
exactly.
is unfortunate, and they did have like a big new different paper gimmick for each of these three modern games. I like to call it like the arts and crafts saga or something. But I do genuinely think that they have gotten better storytelling with these as it's gone on.
Yeah.
Especially with Origami King, I think that they definitely put more focus onto the story with Origami King than they did with the previous two.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
they have gotten progressively more interesting as they got on.
They definitely have,
Um,
for sure. And what's interesting to me about Intelligent Systems is they are getting better with the balance, even though I don't agree with the combat system 100% like the basic combat for Origami King. I will respect the idea that they're doing this balance, which is interesting to me because a couple episodes ago, I remember we were looking up like developers and composers for some of the games, if I remember correctly. And Intelligent Systems is also very much known for developing games with grand stories and very tactical, simple gameplay. Like they've developed Fire Emblem and Advance Wars.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I say specifically I believe it's the executive decisions. Because ultimately you have people like and not to blame any one of these people specifically because I don't know, but you have people like Kensuke Tanabe, you have Miyamoto, who ultimately are the ones dictating the direction of the project. So, even if you have someone, like even if you have people on the team who know how to make RPGs, ultimately they're beholden to what their boss is telling them to do.
Exactly. That is exactly it. I think I brought something up like that about some of the quality and ages ago about like the system, like, when we were talking about Sticker Star and something. I know George disagreed with it, but I do have that conspiracy that Miyamoto has like a chokehold on these guys. Nintendo's just like, hey, we're supposed to be family friendly. You're taking our main character. This isn't your Fire Emblem or your Advance Wars. You gotta rein it in, which sucks because we got great stories like Thousand Year Door and Super Paper Mario.
They have in the past, fairly recently, I think, actually been talking about like the Mario mandates of the sort of stuff that they're allowed to do with the characters in the games. And I would say that they've been like slacking the reins just like a little bit here and there, because there is quite a lot of obvious backlash. And it has me wondering, what direction is Paper Mario going to go in? Because it does seem, I would say it seems to be getting better. Are they going to try and actually properly return to form, or are they just going to, take little baby steps every game? Are they going to revamp the whole battle system again? Or are they going to try and go back to what worked? Maybe in some kind of another weird roundabout way that people complain about again? I don't know, but we're not talking about what direction Paper Mario is going in, are we?
Well, I mean, I guess it also comes back with the story, too, like what direction they want to go with the story, which also comes back to a question of what role does a story have. Like, for example, Sticker Star, it felt like, literally, we went from the high that was Super Paper Mario and having, like, some of the darkest lore ever in some sort of Mario, and I guess, and this is, like, towards the era where 3DS started to happen and Wii U started to happen, where Nintendo felt like they stagnated or tried to go backwards with a lot of things. Where my point comes in, and I agree with Xavier, it's just like they definitely were like, don't do this. Like, here's what you can do and what you can't do. Which is why Intelligent Systems was like, sticker star, here you go. Like, they just didn't know what to do. But I feel like now, like you said, George, hopefully the reins are slacking a little bit so a story can become more prominent, because Origami King shows what you can do with a great story in an RPG and balance it with gameplay. And I'm hoping that Intelligent Systems takes the right step, because they've been getting more creative with things like Fire Emblem with the Three Houses game, which is one of my favorite Fire Emblems and one of my favorites. They're getting more creative with story, and now that Nintendo, not just like, Mario, it just feels like Nintendo in general has been like pulling the reins back a bit and getting a bit more creative. Like, literally while we're recording this, our first 3D Kirby game just came out. They're getting a lot more creative with what people want to see. So I'm hoping that the story becomes more prominent again, like in Thousand Year Door and Super Paper Mario, and that they just stick to what made those games balanced in regards to like story, especially Thousand Year Door and Origami King. Just go back to what made those games great, with that easy balance of simplistic and fun RPG combat with a twist and a phenomenal story that people are going to remember.
I think that Paper Jam is an interesting case. Paper Jam, like the Mario and Luigi series, is almost entirely, fully very original and very good. Everybody loves most of the games. But like Paper Jam is that one where it crossed over with Sticker Star Paper Mario and it got Sticker Star disease. And even though I would say that the gameplay of Paper Jam it's mostly quite solid, I don't know about Xavier, but I know that you two don't like the papercraft battles.
Nope.
I thought that they were pretty enjoyable and an interesting idea. I loathe intensely the paper toad missions, but on the other hand, on my third hand over here, where I'm talking about the third bit of gameplay, the regular battles, I think, in Paper Jam are the best that they've been in the Mario and Luigi series, if you would ask me, because I think that they're very fun. I think that the card system is amazing. So that is actually one of the few games, it's like the only RPG that I remember actually feeling like, when I get to a bit of story, it's generally really naff. Generally, a roadblock will pop up and force me to do Paper Toad missions, and I will just start tearing my hair out. But then once I'm done with that and I get to go back to normal battles, I'm like, I'm having fun again. So Paper Jam might be the only game, if we just push the Paper Toad missions to the side and pretend they don't exist for a minute. Paper Jam is probably the only RPG that I've played that I would definitely prefer the gameplay over the story, and I just don't really care about the story in that game.
Well, that's a tough one, because Paper Jam is also a shining example of fanfic gone wrong. Like, you have no respect for either party, and you just put them together without thinking about it. The gameplay is definitely great. I don't know. I don't know if I would personally agree with the gameplay being some of the best for regular battles, but that's maybe just me, and my opinion might change.
That's fine.
That might also change on replay, just like any of my opinions, because it's been a while since I played Paper Jam. But it also again shows the idea of too light. Not only just the idea of too light of a story, but also just no direction with it either, which is like a bit of a worse thing to put yourself in as an RPG. If your story has no sort of direction and you start throwing in basic roadblocks like missions, for example,
the story in Paper Jam was just Journey to Bowser's Castle featuring a million inconveniences. The only things that really happened was a roadblock preventing you from getting to this same place that you want to go, and they just kept on coming and coming and coming.
Yeah.
There were like no character dynamics, really, not much. I suppose you've got the two Peaches occasionally and the two Bowser Juniors. Kamek is bickering with himself, but like it didn't feel like a crossover between these two fun series. It's just regular Mario game, but RPG. But there's two of everybody. There's two of everybody, and half of them are flat.
Yeah.
I don't know where I was really going with this.
No, it works though, because it does bring up the idea of like where should a story go in regards to an RPG. And Mario RPG isn't, untouchable of it either. Its stories can flop in many ways in regards to in relation, you know.
Oh
You
yeah,
don't need to have loads of really original characters to have a good story.
But you need to make them good.
Origami King didn't really have that many original characters like the rest of the modern Paper Mario games, but it still managed to have pretty good characters with good dynamics and some character journeys actually in the story. It made you still love the characters, even though a lot of the people that you would talk to would be like, this generic Mario enemy, or this generic Mario enemy wearing a hat.
No, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
You know, like, I agree, but also, it doesn't matter whether the characters are original or not. No matter what sort of side you're using, you need to make the story interesting and these characters interesting, which is why Origami King really does well. Like, Kamek has a great personality, but also on the flip side of it, those same characters...
But where Paper Jam didn't do well.
Exactly, yes, exactly. Paper Jam didn't do it well either, nor did Sticker Star. Like, legitimately, it's just, you know, you have all these great characters that have already been established in many ways outside of RPGs, but now you bring them in, and you can give them a lot more depth, because it's not like Mario platformers, or Mario Galaxy, for example, where Kamek's just stereotypical assistant bad guy that you fight in a boss battle and that's it. Now you can give him that funny charm that you want to do. Now you can give him, like, this grand moment where he's taking back the castle from Scissors. Like, you can do all these things, it's just a matter of how you handle it. In RPGs, especially, you can either go with RPGs very convoluted, like my favorite series, Kingdom Hearts, love it to death, but it can be convoluted at times for people, or you can go very basic like Golden Sun. A lot of RPGs tend to go those ways, but Mario also does as well, which sucks, and it doesn't exactly give him a free pass.
Yeah, and something George brought up earlier that I think is an interesting point is not only the quality of the story, but the pacing of an RPG specifically, I think requires a story because, you know, in a platformer, you know, how long is the average Mario platformer game? Like, what, at most 10 hours?
Depends
unless
on how
you
fast you go, yeah.
Yeah, unless you want to be a completionist or something, but RPGs are, most of the time, significantly longer. And I think you need the pacing of, you need that balance between, like, gameplay, story, to keep you interested in the game, because no matter how good one of those elements are, when you're playing something for 50 hours, it's gonna get monotonous at some point.
It is, agreed.
When I play an RPG, I'm generally mostly in it for the story, to be honest. I can enjoy the gameplay, but I'm mostly in it for the story. I play the games so that I can see more of the story. But, like...
Yeah. I think it's one of those things that it's like the
I mean, I guess Shrew would be the opposite, though.
Yeah, for me, a lot of RPGs and Mario RPGs specifically, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Yes.
Like, the story, for me, a Mario RPG, story-wise, doesn't really have to be more complicated than, like, a Saturday morning cartoon.
No.
The gameplay isn't anything, you know, super complicated, but when you have the balance of those things together, it can turn into something really special. And I think what the problem that abandoning a story in an RPG has is, it's just, in my opinion, it's just a requirement of the genre.
Yeah, it's literally, RPG stands for role-playing game. Role-playing games come from D&D, essentially, where you are role-playing as a character and world-building. Like, you're not wrong, it's definitely a requirement, and I feel like a lot of games, like, including Paper Mario especially, put those to the side. And the best example of, like, Saturday morning cartoon, like you said, Mario and Luigi. It has a perfect balance between the two, in my opinion, a lot of the times. Like, Partners in Time rises a little above, but it doesn't complicate things at all. It basically, you could still sum it up to time travel to stop alien invasion, and it still has those moments that make you think, wow, this is amazing. Like, it doesn't need to be convoluted.
Partners in Time is a fun, goofy jaunt with Mario Bros. Involving genocide and...
Yeah, that's the funny thing.
Lots of murder.
You can jokingly sum it up as that, but that's the thing too, like Xavier I agree with too, it's just, you don't have to complicate things, and a lot of RPGs do, like, I bet Xavier and I can tell you plenty of RPGs that we have played, where story is good at first, but then the middle act gets a little weird, and in the end game you're left sitting there like, what just happened? Like, it felt like...
Basically, almost every JRPG ever made.
Exactly! It can literally get like that. It's horrible, and you can wrap your head around it after a while, and it makes you think, I guess, but you shouldn't be left feeling confused or unsatisfied, whether it's convoluted or just literally holding your hand like Pokemon Sun and Moon does. Like, I agree that a lot of these games can try to strike that balance, but it's tough to do, and Thousand Year Door, Origami King have those moments where it's like, oh, this is dark, but it doesn't take away from the gameplay, so when you have a dark moment, it kind of leads into the gameplay. Like, the final boss, for example, extremely dark moment. Literally, you don't spend much time dwelling on it because you're thrust into the battle almost immediately, and it is epic. And it's the most bare bones, like, sort of, not bare bones, wrong way to describe it, like, basic type of thing that you can do in an RPG. And it works because it segues seamlessly into each other.
Yes, sometimes they can really work really well together, like, when you can feel the story through the gameplay. Like, as you mentioned in the final boss of Partners in Time, it just occurred to me that that's Shrauser, and I'm not gonna... It's not Shrauser.
Oh, no,
that doesn't exist. It doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist. We don't talk about it.
Okay. Oh dear, my earphones fell out. Oh, okay, that's the wrong ear.
Oops.
There we go, I'm back. My earphones fell out, oops. As I was saying, before I was so rudely interrupted by gravity, when I've written a whole bit for this for when I do my top 10 favorite Mario boss themes, but
that kind of brings up another point in regards to story and its relation to Mario RPGs, especially when it comes to why Sticker Star flopped. Not only was the story bad, but the world just felt empty, and any filmmaker, not just video gamer, but like any filmmaker can tell you, as a writer and an aspiring filmmaker myself, I can tell you, you don't need dialogue to completely tell a story. And that's why I feel like video games have some better stories than movies a lot of the time, because you could explore the world and feel one with what's going on. And that's what you're trying to describe with Elder Princess Shroom. You can feel the danger with it. Like, literally when she's shooting down her own UFO soldiers to hit you, you feel that danger. You feel that sense of, oh no, this is bad, without having to literally run through a gauntlet. Yeah, exactly. And
I am of the minority. Maybe not minority. Sticker Star did sell very well, but I did enjoy Sticker Star myself. And the thing, okay, so this is probably quite a relevant part of the conversation, because Sticker Star sucks, but I enjoy Sticker Star a lot for the vibe of the various areas.
Yeah.
I really, really like the happy, jazzy, warm, fuzzy plains. I really like the sort of like subdued, smooth, but like kind of mysterious, spooky jazz of the woods. Mm-hmm. And I like the kind of exciting music over in the jungle. I just, and like the 3D effect and the way that the world and the graphics looks, really, I just really enjoy just wandering around and exploring the area, because it looks good and it feels really good.
That's nice, and like the world can be pretty.
It's fair enough. Yeah.
But like in relation to the story, what purpose does it particularly serve? Like, it's just a world that's pretty to look at. In regards to like RPGs and world building in general, if you have a pretty world, that's great, but if it serves no purpose to the story, then you might as well just create your own world and make your own dialogue while you're at it and do the work for the developers, you know? And that's where I feel like, in my opinion, Sticker Star especially, and flops, because it's just like, the world's pretty, but there's no substance to the story. Mario RPG, 7 stars, it's a great world, but it's another cookie-cutter thing. Like, you could literally just go to Final Fantasy and replace stars with crystal, and you would have the same thing, even though the combat and the world are fun to explore. It's great to explore from a gameplay perspective, but from a story perspective, that world building is missing. It's very flawed, and that's where I feel like, you know, it's tough to really say that there's a good balance. Like, yes, I agree, Sticker Star can be nice to look at, but the world building is very lacking in regards to being an RPG and a story in general.
You see, the thing is, what I'm saying here is that when I'm playing Sticker Star, even though I do very much enjoy RPGs with stories, probably quite a bit more than Sticker Star, to be honest. But even though that may be the case, I'm not missing the lack of deep story when I'm playing Sticker Star, because I'm still enjoying that. I suppose this isn't a conversation about the place of graphics or nice looking worlds that feel fun to explore in RPGs, but I'm just saying that even though it is technically quite a lot lesser than these other RPGs because of how much less stuff it has in it, I didn't really miss it because I still enjoyed just playing the game.
Oh no, playing a game first
I suppose
is important.
yeah. I suppose we're all fall on different parts of the scale of, is gameplay more important or is story more important? Which is kind of weird for me to say that I still enjoyed Sticker Star when I would absolutely say that story is more important to me. So that's kind of odd.
I think
really,
I
that's
think
a bit
maybe
of an anomaly.
Where it comes from, to me the appeal of Sticker Star from George's perspective, and correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds very similar to the same appeal of a traditional Mario game.
Yes. I feel like that might be kind of like that, because it does sort of play like that. And to bring up a point Xavier brought earlier, and you brought it up too, George, the question of what's more of a prominent role. Obviously, it's a video game. It needs to be played, which is fine. And if you want to get just a good story about playing through, then I agree with Xavier. You would go watch a movie. You could go watch the Mario movie if you want, for God's sake, when it comes out. You know?
Read a book.
Read a book, exactly.
Yeah.
You could do all these other medias, but at the end of the day, it's still a role-playing game, and it stems from D&D, which is a very hands-on type of story where you need to be engaged in the world and the lore around you to have any sort of effect. And that's why RPGs are like they are, because they take that inspiration from the pen and paper and translate it into a much more interactive medium than D&D. And D&D was already interactive as it is, but they translate it into a much more interactive thing with video games. But that's the problem. It feels like with Sticker Star, it's too interactive, and it could just better be off as like a platform, in my opinion, just because with an RPG, go back to Xavier's point, there needs to be some semblance of a story to be good, and there needs to be that healthy balance either way, and Sticker Star leans more to being like a traditional Mario game instead of being an RPG.
Yeah, I agree. And ultimately, my biggest problem with Sticker Star isn't the lack of story, it's because personally I don't like the gameplay. And I think trying to hold on to some kind of vague RPG-ish elements is really what has held the more recent Paper Marios back, in my opinion. Like, in my perfect world, we would go back to the Thousand Year Door, Paper Mario 64 style.
I would agree.
But I don't really have any, I have no hope left in general for humanity, but also especially for Paper Mario going back to what it was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But I think I think going forward with the Paper Mario games, I think they have to drop like the turn-based battle system and all that stuff, because I feel like it makes the game for me very tonally confused.
Yes. And I would agree. The closest I feel like we got to, like, the quote-unquote older, stick to the status quo ways of back in the day when, like, I was a kid and you were a kid, for example, Xavier, definitely is Origami King, but even then, it's not even a fully turn-based game. It feels like it's a puzzle game in an RPG, in a platformer, and the actual basic battles I've gone over before and on here and in my own videos is like, oh, they're so confused and very janky, you just cheese your way through, but the rest of the boss battles, like the boss battles that feel more traditional RPG and the battles like Origami Blooper, I believe it is, that are more Super Mario and traditional platformer based, are a lot better and a lot more fun. It's because it doesn't confuse itself. And
yeah.
When the story and the gameplay are married successfully, the it's the feeling of immersion is
Yes.
where you get the satisfaction from the story in.
Exactly. And
Yes.
unfortunately, right now, Paper Mario is going through a divorce, which is kind of tough, you know? They're trying to figure out the kids of where should the story go and where does the gameplay go. And I agree with Xavier personally. Maybe it's just my bias because I've grown up with them, but I feel like it would be way better off if Paper Mario or Intelligent Systems would sit down and just be like, we had something good, the fans kind of have made it clear after Origami King that we're on the right track, but let's just go back to the basics if we want to stick with what we know. Otherwise, just get rid of everything and try to make platforming fun and more immersive than Super Paper Mario and get the balance of both of that at that point.
Yeah, I agree, because and gameplay-wise, my favorite parts of Origami King were definitely, like, the paper-mache battles that were just in the overworld, and, like, the puzzle solving.
Yes.
And every time I went into a battle, like the what is it, the little
Ring.
circle thing, ring thing, I
Yeah.
it felt like to me, every single time I got into a battle, it was as if someone just ripped the controller out of my hand, and now I have to wait 5 minutes to actually get back to the part of the game I enjoyed.
Yeah. And even then, you could cheese your way through with the Toad system, which I literally... I used math to destroy the Toad system and how broken it can make these basic battles feel, because you always feel... basically, like, late-game RPG. You always feel overpowered and can just cheese your way through everything, it feels like. You don't feel like there's a threat until you're forced to do it in the boss battles, and it becomes fun and challenging, which isn't a good balance in relation to the story either. If you are making me feel challenged in these random moments, after kind of breezing through and, like, just button mashing through everything, why am I going to care about your story if you're basically making me halt in 1 second for this and feel like it's complete BS?
Yeah.
I think it might be Shroob's turn to have some conversation now.
I'm here. I forgot. My bad.
Did you fall?
No.
Did you fall asleep? Because we're
Yeah, sorry,
talking
yeah.
about story.
Sorry, just got on spring break, just trying to get my sleep back. Anyway, I mean, the problem with my sight with games is I'm super into gameplay, and just story can get thrown out the window. I don't care. What I do care about, and I know you guys already mentioned this, pacing. If the pacing is awful, I'm going to get bored. That's why in the Thousand Year Door, when you're in Chapter 8, I still haven't beaten the game yet. I literally have my GameCube, it's been running on for like 3 weeks, and I haven't turned it back, or I haven't even turned my TV back on, because I just don't feel in the game. Yeah, it's the middle of Chapter 8, and I'm not doing anything, because the pacing is awful. Like, there's just nothing going on. It's like there's puzzles, but the story isn't doing anything. It's just super long.
Yeah.
But the gameplay, I mean, the problem with the story is that once you replay a game, unless it's been like a long time, like a very long time, you're gonna remember the story. You're gonna remember the twists. So a story is good. Like I always say, that a game is always going to be great. The story of the Mario RPG is always going to be great on the first time. Your opinion should be based on the second time you play it.
You only really enjoy it the first time with the story, but the gameplay can continue to be enjoyed in future playthroughs.
Yeah.
And that's why Sticker Star sucks. It's why I don't like Color Splash.
It comes back around.
Yeah, I mean, I also agree. Like, I straight up think that Origami King, I haven't replayed it in a while, but I would, because the areas are amazing. I love the worlds.
Yeah.
Like, they're probably the best in the entire Paper Mario series. Like, I love every single one of them.
Yeah. And
For
I
a
think
different reason.
when we say story, the environment counts.
Exactly.
Yes. Oh, if we're talking about that, then okay.
Yeah,
If we're talking about atmosphere and environment, then okay.
brings that up
needs
earlier
to.
Autumn Mountain, I love you.
Yes.
That brings it up earlier to what I was saying too. Like, world building is especially important, and that's why I feel like Sticker Star flops and like some other like Legend of the Seven Stars flops. You have these great worlds, but it's been either seen before and you can just swap it out, like palette swap it out with like Final Fantasy, which is still fine, but like it's just not the greatest and not a great balance of what you'd expect. Or you have something empty. And I feel like also too, going back to the pacing, it's really telling of RPGs, specifically Mario RPGs, going back to you bringing up Chapter 8. More RPGs balance the story in the gameplay in the worst way possible when the pacing just grinds to a halt like in Chapter 8.
it doesn't even matter anymore.
Exactly.
If the pacing's gone, then you don't feel like doing anything.
I feel like, and this isn't even just according to Paper Mario. I feel like I can count on my hand alone, like both of my hands, easily, games that felt like they had horrible pacing moments that made the story and the gameplay just stop completely. This includes Mario and Luigi and Paper Mario. I feel like it's a bad thing that RPGs do that. It's a trap that many of them go into.
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. It's like in Paper Jam when they just stop the normal game and like, it's time for Paper Toad missions now.
Exactly.
The pacing is gone.
That's probably a big reason why I hate them so much. The game just like, alright, I'm off now, you just have fun with that over there.
And that's exactly the thing. Like, whether you're a story person like George or a gameplay person like Shroob, everyone can agree that a healthy balance of story and gameplay truly does rely in pacing at the end of the day as well.
Oh, it's like
100%.
It's like you're like in a fast car and you're going round, you're enjoying the game, you're enjoying the story, and then you hit a wall, and the game tells you climb this wall, and then you can start driving again.
It feels like Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
That's all right. One of the games that I've played with potentially the worst pacing I've ever seen, and it might be like maybe cause some controversy here, is Octopath Traveler. I had to stop. I had to stop playing that game.
You wound me, sir.
Oh, boy.
For me, the problem was every time you got a new party member, it was like you were starting from the very beginning of the game. It was like you got like, you know, a few hours in, you got a little bit of a story, but then you met someone else, and it's like the characters you already have don't exist. Suddenly you're playing like a kind of quasi-tutorial again, and then do that times, 4 to 8, depending on how many people you gather. And it sucked because I liked basically every other aspect about that game.
Yeah. I can see it for sure. And like, even though I personally love the game and it doesn't mind me as much, the tutorial I do kind of get as well, because it's hard to balance 8 main characters.
Not the tutorials.
It's a fair criticism. It definitely is. I also personally didn't really mind it, to be honest. I didn't mind it at all because I was really enjoying all of these characters' stories, and I got quite quickly engaged in the different plots. I didn't really mind it. I don't know, like I kind of knew what to expect going in. I don't know. I just enjoyed it quite a lot.
Which is fair.
I didn't mind.
No, of course, which is absolutely fair.
Yeah, completely fair. I mean, with me, it was this feeling that like all 8 of the stories felt completely disconnected from each other.
Yeah,
and it was like you were playing a game with like 8 different stories, and just randomly like suddenly you're at the beginning of one story, but then you're 2/3 of this other story, and it just felt kind of all over the place.
Basically, what you got with Octopath is you had Fire Emblem compatibility without any of the interesting storytelling beats together.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
I mean, that's a fair criticism. I am still holding out hope that they will do a proper Octopath sequel, and maybe they will have one big connected story instead of 8 different ones. That's probably the main complaint that people have against Octopath Traveler, is that the story is like a bunch of different stories that are all disconnected, and like as you said, it just feels like you're going from one thing to another, and the different points of progress, and the tone is just constantly shifting back and forth between this thing and the other thing.
You know what that sounds like to me? Kind of sounds like Paper Jam.
What?
How?
Just
Explain.
constant changing tones, no idea what it wants to be, even though the groundwork is right there.
To be fair, I don't agree, but I also don't think Paper Jam has a tone at all. So
Exactly, it has no idea what it wants to
definitely
be.
no tone.
Tone deaf.
It doesn't know
Yeah.
what it
It's
wants
the
to be.
tone
It
deaf.
sounds like, in a way, like Octopath, where it's like it has no idea where it wants to go with its characters and to mesh them
Please
together.
please don't compare Octopath Traveler to Paper
I'm sorry,
Jam.
I
games
love
are good.
I love Octopath. Don't get me wrong. Octopath is a great game, and also I'm very thankful for how it's ushering in a new art style. But I gotta connect these points because, in a way, it makes sense to me. Because Paper Jam, there's no tone. It doesn't know what it wants to do with its characters to connect them together. But Octopath, it has a tone, but it doesn't know
It
what
has
it
a
wants
lot
to do
of
to connect
tones.
the characters. Exactly.
It's got a lot of tones. Oh yeah, there is. I suppose there's a lot of tonal whiplash. I mean, you all raise fair complaints, and I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong or anything. I didn't mind. Octopath Traveler is still my favourite Switch game, followed shortly behind by Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, which is, I suppose, Rabbids is technically a Mario RPG as well, kind of, sort of.
It is a
Yeah.
strategic RPG, yeah, like Fire
And
Emblem.
Yeah, kind of.
and I would
But it's-
argue it's probably the best Mario RPG to come out within the last 5 years.
I would
Oh.
honestly agree.
Oh wow.
I would agree with you, honestly. It's a strategic
That's it.
RPG.
Since it's 2022 and Paper Jam isn't in that, I agree. That's it.
Let's go! No Paper Jam.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that I like Kingdom Battle more than Origami King. I do like Origami King a lot, but yeah, I like Kingdom Battle more. I'm excited for the sequel. I'm very excited for Sparks of Hope.
Oh wait, no, I like Origami King more than Rabbids. What am I talking about?
Okay.
I just realized. I like Origami King much more than Rabbids. Wait,
Oops, I agreed when I didn't actually agree.
Did I just
I was
accidentally
thinking about
agree to
Paper
this
Jam.
point?
Quick, distract them with a funny voice.
Wait, I already
No,
closed the
don't.
app.
Yes!
Oh,
Let's go!
dear.
We stay
I can
winning.
open it up again.
Oh no, we lose. Game over.
Oh, it's not loading. Oh, never mind, it did.
Oh, wait. Oh, I was gonna say we won, but then we lost.
Yeah, it's fine, like this, right? Oh wait, no, it's not working yet.
No, you
Voice.
just do the whole video in
Yeah.
autotune now.
There we go.
Sure, please.
Oh,
Oh, you want auto-tune? Yay.
Well,
It's really not really picking up very well.
it cuts out.
What? Oh, that's stupid. Well, back to my point. So, gameplay is important because replayability. I've played Partners in Time a lot. I've played Partners in Time so many times.
You tell him, Daft.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter how good the atmosphere is. It doesn't matter how good the story is, because that's not going to carry over throughout the entire game. The story happens in between stuff. The gameplay is the stuff that's filling it in between. That's the main part. I'm turning this off.
Please do.
No, that was great. I think that made your point more effective.
I just shed
It's
a
true.
Absolutely.
I shed a tear during
Yeah.
that. That was beautiful. It felt like something right out of a concert that you hear.
I also didn't hear myself during that, so now I get to hear it during the video.
Yay.
Honestly, I do agree with you. I mean, ultimately, no matter what, in a game, gameplay is always going to supersede story.
Yes.
For me, I think just with an RPG, story plays a specific game design purpose, which is dictating the pacing of the game.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's tough, because, again, it's just like, platformer, you can spend 5 seconds being like, woohoo, go save the princess, and then romp through amazing worlds, because everything's moving at a faster pace. With an RPG, you gotta take your time with everything. You gotta explore the world, get the lore, get the story, find out what you're doing and why characters come in and out just like that. It's not like, not even just to go with Mario, like Sonic or Banjo-Kazooie, where, like, everything's just thrown at you while you're going around running. You gotta really take your time with it.
And there's also there are also RPGs where you make actual story decisions, and your story decisions dictate what the gameplay is like as well. So, like, you can play Undertale several different ways, and it's wildly different if you're going for a genocide run compared to the other ones.
Exactly.
To be fair, Those are gameplay decisions, because you can either kill or spare them.
And they affect the story. That's a perfect balance of gameplay and story all at once.
Exactly.
We've solved it. Undertale is the perfect RPG.
Yep.
Pack up.
And
go
that's
home.
why I've only played Deltarune. How sad.
Aw.
Yeah, can I confess something? I've never played Undertale.
Me neither.
I have not played it heavily as many people have. I think it's good, but
Well,
it's, you know.
My story behind Undertale is I never did like PC gaming, and especially since like our computer was like where all the family could just walk in and see what you're doing, which I was not comfortable with. I don't like people watching me do stuff. So
What were you doing in that computer room, George?
Yeah, also here's the thing. If you don't like people watching what you do, how do you and Harry play Super Paper Mario on the channel? Everyone's watching what you do when you upload it.
Dude, that's true.
It's different. It's a different matter.
Mate.
What if you have a live audience?
Yeah, that's true. You could stream it.
The difference is I'm not going to invite my mum onto my podcast series, Benson.
Oh,
I don't know,
what a
man.
shame.
I think next flatmate's George's mom.
She's got all the
That's
Mario
dope.
lore, all the Mario RPG stuff. She's got a notebook. She's been listening to the episodes like, alright, I'm ready.
To be fair, have you asked your mom about that stuff? She might know.
She is anti-interested in Mario games. Anyway, back to my story about Undertale. So,
The best Mario
since I
RPG.
was not willing to play Undertale on PC, which was the only way I could potentially play it at the time, I gave up and watched a playthrough. I watched the Game Grumps Steam Train playthrough of it, and I enjoyed that a lot.
Oh my God.
But then, like, 1 week later, the Nintendo Direct dropped that announced it was coming to Switch, and I felt stupid. So, when Undertale did eventually come out, I barely played it at all, because I'd kind of already seen it all, so I kind of didn't feel the need to bother.
I mean, to be fair, it comes back to my gameplay, where the only reason I download Undertale is to fight Undying the Undying and then Sans. That's it. And maybe Metaton EX. That's it. That's the only, because they're good bosses and they're kind of difficult.
No, that's fair.
That's why I like Spamton, and that's why I always do Snowgrave when I play Deltarune in Chapter 2.
No, that's totally fair,
Oh,
honestly.
I've enjoyed Deltarune a lot, though. I enjoyed that. Enjoying that game.
Chapter 1 is very overrated. Chapter 2 is amazing, though.
I still have to catch up a little bit on Deltarune, but I'll take your word for it, Shroop.
I almost just knocked my whole computer over.
Don't do that!
sorry.
Don't do that.
Also, language. This is Christian.
Yeah, that was an instant reaction. You can bleep that out. I just didn't want my $1,000 monitor falling on my table.
I mean,
That's
maybe that's fair, I guess. I'll give you a pass this time.
yeah. I'll put a quarter in the jar. It's fine.
Yeah, put a quarter in the jar. Go right ahead.
It's less money than again the $1,000 monitor, so it was worth it.
Worth it.
I have no
Story.
idea how long we've been going for, Benson, by the way, because Discord is telling me that we've been going for 19 hours for some reason, and I don't know where that came from.
I
say
saw
it's that.
We are currently at 1 hour and 3 minutes, including the 5-minute topic beforehand.
Okay, wow. So maybe we should start wrapping up. You guys got some like summaries of what you think? Any last final things you might want to say?
No, not really.
Xavier, you got anything, man?
I hate video games. They're dumb.
Yeah,
Same here, man.
agreed. Video games are dumb, and they're done. They're also done. They're a dead entertainment source.
They're canceled.
Canceled.
They legitimately are. I'm working on a video about the long, what I believe the widespread implications of NFTs in video games are, and
Ooh.
there's a legitimate chance that, like, that they have the potential to fundamentally alter how games are designed going forward.
Oh, great.
Oh, boy.
Instead of microtransactions, I can get NFT transactions in my Assassin's Creed or Final Fantasy. How nice.
Well, Well, NFT interest seems to be going down a lot recently, and I only hope it continues to fall faster and faster.
It was a meme, and now it's not a meme anymore.
Sounds like a lot of things happening in the past decade. Honestly, it was a meme, but it's not anymore. But
Yeah.
I don't really have any other point either. I guess, like, in all actuality, just pacing's important with both story and gameplay. And bottom line is, no matter what, let's be honest, Mario RPGs don't have a good balance for the most part, and the ones that do are hopefully a sign of the future, especially with Origami King being the latest, you know?
So, tell us in the comments which Mario RPG you think has the best balance. And
It's
just
Sticker
carry
Star,
on.
I swear. It's
Oh,
both.
yeah.
It's balanced because
Absolutely.
they're both bad.
Ha! That's a fair point. How can you balance a bad story and bad gameplay design?
No, that's why it's balanced, because both of them are equally bad.
That is true. This is very true.
There we go.
Shroops cracked the code. You can't have. The only way you can balance an RPG is bad gameplay and bad story.
That's it.
There you go.
Set out to make the worst game, and it's suddenly the best game.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Right there.
Oh, the irony of it all.
Whoa, sticker star for the bin. Anyway. So then, this has been a very interesting topic. If you feel free to just carry it on down in the comment section, feel free to subscribe if you're new. Thank you very much, Xavier, for appearing on this episode.
No problem. I had a blast.
Excellent. So, thank you ever so much for watching, dear viewers. And until next time, farewell, everyone.
Oh, make sure to like the video. I want to see
do that.
likes
And subscribe.
And check out Don't Save Game channel.
Yeah, link in the description.
Yeah, look at... He do videos good.
He do videos
Good
real good.
vid.
Good things.
Yup.
Just check George and Don't Save's channels, not me and Shroop. We specifically called them out, so you gotta check them out. Great stuff.
Yeah, no, don't go to these other channels.
Yeah, please don't.
Make sure to go to Don't Save the Game's channel and make sure to sort his video by oldest and watch in order.
Yes. Get everything
Yeah,
that you need to know.
Just have one of my videos just like always playing in just some other tab constantly.
Watch them
Give
both
me all
at
the
same
watch time.
Multitasking.
Multitasking. Not me and Shrew. We're dead channels. We don't exist anymore.
Oh.
We don't
You
exist.
know-
My channel's on the up and up. I'm gonna just start focusing on purely shorts soon and
boy.
make no original content.
Yo.
No.
Oh, Benson.
What's up?
Here, I forgot to bring you the bucket.
Oh, the bucket?
Here, can I
thank
keep
you.
can I keep the bucket? I want it.
You can keep the bucket. It's too late. It's all good, buddy.
Never mind. I'll throw it at you.
Okay.
Here you go.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Oh! It just hit me in the head. Oh, okay.
Oh,
Alright.
yeah. I have tiny arms. My bad.
Oh, that's okay. I should have seen it coming. I'm definitely out of it today.
Of course.
Of course, my bad. Don't save the game, and George Mario Nerd, if you don't follow them, otherwise another bucket will be thrown at my head.
Yeah, I think they want that though. So,
I feel like a lot of comments definitely will be very happy if I get a bucket thrown at my head, so...
Don't subscribe to us both. Cursed Dementio will visit you in the night.
yeah, Cursed
Throw a
Dementio
bucket at
has
your head.
yellow eyes. He has yellow eyes, by the way.
That shows how cursed he is. That's a very, very
Yeah.
interesting point.
Exactly.
Exactly. Bye!
Bye.
TTFN.
Bye.